Welcome back to the course lecture. The next service we're going to talk about is AWS Cloudfront. Cloudfront is a global content distribution network, which means that it's a service that we use to store files which are frequently accessed by customers that may be located in different places around the country or around the world. And we leverage a service like Cloudfront, a CDN, to accelerate customer access to those files. So normally, if you have something like a web server and customers are accessing the web server and the images for the website remotely, they're going to be making requests directly to that web server wherever it's located in the world. If someone's located physically close to the web server where the web server is hosted, their access is going to be much faster than somebody who's located in a different continent, because the farther away you are, the longer it takes to access that data and to transmit that data between the client and the server. Cloudfront changes that dynamic by actually moving content closer to the customer. So Cloudfront can take your website files and replicate those files to locations all over the world. These locations are called edge locations. So these edge locations are locations where your data is being replicated and cached. When customers then try to access that data, the Cloudfront service will automatically route the customer to the closest edge location so that the customer sees the best performance. The customer has the best experience. These edge locations, there's over 50 of them located throughout the world. And don't confuse them with availability zones and regions. They're not the same. These edge locations oftentimes are sort of co-located with large internet service providers in different countries. So these edge locations will be sort of like a peering point that's located within a large telecommunications provider's data center facility. The big benefit of Cloudfront is performance. It will dramatically increase the speed and the usability of a website, and it will give customers a much better experience because the customer is retrieving data from a location that's physically located closer to where the customer lives. Here's a diagram showing you many of the different edge locations that are located throughout the world. As you can see, it's truly global. There are peering points located all over the place. One of the interesting use cases for this service is to improve transfer acceleration, and that's a special feature of Cloudfront. So I mentioned that you can use Cloudfront, customers can use Cloudfront to retrieve and download files in a edge location that's located physically closer to the customer. That's great for downloads, but what happens if a customer wants to upload data into an S3 bucket? If my S3 bucket is located in North Virginia, and let's say the user that wants to upload data into my bucket is located in India, then that upload is going to take a long time because they're going to be pushing that data all the way across the other side of the world into the North Virginia region and the bucket located in that region. Well, using Cloudfront, you can enable S3 transfer acceleration. And what that means is that instead of uploading that content to the S3 bucket in North Virginia, I can now, as a customer, upload that data to an edge location that's located close to me. And then Amazon, AWS, will automatically transfer that data from the edge location back to the S3 bucket located in North Virginia. And the data will move over AWS's very, very high speed network. So it accelerates the upload performance. A couple other services I want to mention before completing this segment of the lecture. You know, you can store an unimaginable amount of data within S3. Again, there are no limits in S3. So you can store tons and tons of data there. But how do you actually get the data into S3? And how do you get it out of S3 if you need to? Now, if you have literally petabytes of data, we're talking thousands and thousands of terabytes of data. If you were to try to upload that data via your typical internet connection, even if it was a really fast internet connection like 100 megabit or even a gigabit connection, it could literally take you days and maybe even weeks to upload all of that data to S3. So another option for uploading data into S3 is to use a service called Snowball, which uses a special transport case. So essentially what AWS will do is they will ship out this case that contains hard drives in it. And you plug this case into your corporate network, and it appears as a network storage device in your network. And you can then simply copy data from your on-premise storage systems into the Snowball storage. The data is going to be encrypted in Snowball storage, and then you can simply ship it back to Amazon. Amazon will then take and copy the data from the Snowball storage device into an S3 bucket of your choosing. So it's sort of the old saying that it's faster to move data using a car or truck than it is to use your fiber optic lines, especially when we're talking about massive scale, massive amounts of data. Well, and you can use this service not only to get data into S3, but also get data out of S3. So if you have a ton of data that you've collected in S3 and you need to ship it back to an on-premise storage system, then you can do that using Snowball as well. Well, what happens if this sort of petabyte scale isn't big enough? Like you're a really, really, really big company and you've got an unimaginable amount of data that you need to transfer to S3. Well, that's when you bring in Snowmobile. And Snowmobile provides you with 100 petabyte plus storage transfer. Instead of shipping you a small case that's full of hard drives, AWS will literally ship you a truck and a semi-trailer that's full of hard drives you can plug into and store your data into. So the sky is the limit. There's no excuse, for not getting your data into S3. If you can't transmit it over the wire, you can use Snowball. If that's not big enough, then AWS is going to send you a semi-truck to move your data into S3. So I think they've got all of the available options covered.